Hello, welcome back to the James Ramble and Reviews. We're going to be ending off the month in style with a very Halloweeny movie. Just a segue into this episode. This movie that I'm going to be talking about isn't really like the most Halloween-esque movies because when you think of a Halloween movie, you think of Freddy, you think of Freddy, you think of Jason, you think of these other movies. But do you ever think of 28 Days Later? You might have heard of it, you may have not heard of it. Well, I saw it like yesterday, and we're going to be talking about it because it's just this film that I think I should give my own thoughts on. It is like this British film that I should have picked up on earlier, and so the 28 Days Later is a zombie film with a British twist on it, and that is kind of how I describe it, right? It's like a zombie film with all the zombie stuff with a British twist on it because you have British actors, and it doesn't make it just a zombie like slasher thing where there's just blood all over the screen and you're expected to see so much blood on this screen to the point it's like, oh my gosh, it's just a blood fest, I'm bored already. No, it just adds a dramatic aspect in there where you don't need to just focus on the zombie all the time. You focus on the characters, you focus on the story, you focus on all of that, which makes the film probably probably better than some of these other horror movies that just try to put so much blood in all over the screen. And if you're into that, okay, but I've never really been into horror movies, so it's just a thing of like because it's not that hardcore, I feel like I can give it a strong recommendation because it really isn't one of those films that just try to be like every other film. Although, the film is cheesy and you still get like a love triangle thing and the kissing and all that. You still get that, which is a cliche. There still is that. But when you put it up against other zombie films, it's definitely kind of a unique twist on it, in my opinion. And so this film also isn't that long either, right? It's not a slog, so it's like 2 hours, it's straight to the point. That is great about it, and I will say that the guy who directed this, I've never seen his other films either, and you also have Christopher Eccleston, which does put it place higher because I really liked him as Doctor Who. However, in the movie, he's actually kind of like a villain. He's kind of like a villain in this film because he like has like he's like part of the military kind of thing, and then they take Killian's character and everybody in this crew that's in the film to his place, and it gets crazy. But yeah, overall, like it's just a really good film, and it just feels like a zombie movie a zombie concept that you've already heard of, where it's a virus that goes around and that kind of thing. But then it puts a British twist on it, and that's the best way to kind of describe this film, is that it has a British twist on it, and I repeated that, but what would I give this out of 10? Probably like a solid 8. Right, if a movie is ever a solid 8, by the way, it's usually really good, in my opinion. Like or even a solid 9, right? A 9's even better than an 8. So yeah, that I definitely would recommend you go watch this film. I think there's actually a sequel to it as well called 28 Weeks Later. I've seen the trailer for that, by the way, and it doesn't feel as good because it's Americans, right? And I feel like if you have a British thing and then you put Americans on it, it's not gonna be as good because the British thing made it really unique for me. So if you just have Americans in there, it's like really, and if we were to go on a similar note here, I did see a film that I'm not gonna review. I'll just give it a honourable mention, kind of. It's called The Curse of Bridge Hollow. Right? It was this kind of like this cheesy like movie. It's like a cliche, but I went from that watching 20 Days Later to that, and it was like a big giant contrast. It was just like this goofy, cheesy Halloween time movie kind of thing. But yeah, overall, except from that, it's kind of hard to cover this film in such a length because basically what I just described is all I can go with, right? It is not like the most deep and meaningful movie ever. Right, it's not like a really in-depth film, right? Any thinking studio can do this thing where you have a zombie concept and it just runs around, have zombies running around, and there's dead spaces, there's dead areas, and then after a while, you see the suspense building, and then boom shakalaka, here comes the zombies, and then you just slap British people onto that screen, and then there you go. That is basically what the film is. So from that point of view, we can't really dive into this for 10 minutes like we've done for other reviews. So if this review is shorter than usual, this is exactly why. Hope you enjoyed the review. Check us out, Spotify, Anchor, YouTube, of course. Maybe we'll see you next week. There's this film, Enola Holmes 2, and did mention Black Adam where you had Henry Cavill. So I really think I should dive into that, right? I might actually watch Enola Holmes, and we might cover Enola Holmes 2. We'll see about that, though. Hope you enjoyed it. Bye, 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 bye.